Hi guys, Demon Wolverine here, and as you can see, I'm in a different location. If you've seen my Color Clones review, you know where I am. If you haven't, I don't care. Let's get going. Today, we're going to be talking about 10 surprising things about the furry fandom. Now, for some, this list may be obvious. For some, it may not. Some may agree, some may disagree. It's my opinion, deal with it. If you have a different opinion, or have different things you'd like to add to this list, or take away, drop them into the comment section. I like hearing from you guys. Let's make a discussion. Anyway, let's start. So, the first surprising thing about the furry fandom is just how small we are. A lot of people talk about how big the fandom has grown over the years, and that is true. But the biggest numbers worldwide of the fandom that we can currently calculate is around 60,000, which is immensely small. But I don't believe that that's accurate. So I did a little bit of thinking. What if only 1 in 5 furries in the entire world have the ability to openly express that they are a furry or are able to participate in furry-related activities? So, if we take that and we use that percentage, we come to around 500,000 individuals. Now, 500,000 individuals is 500,000. And you would think, that's a lot. No, it's not. 500,000 individuals is actually less than 1% of 1% of the global population. 1% of the global population is 70 million. 1% of that is 700,000. So yes, it is a 200,000 difference, but it is still a 200,000 difference. We are less than 1% of 1% of the global population at the largest number we can conceivably say the furry fandom is. So the next time someone tells you that you're weird, they're right. The next thing is gonna really come to some surprise to some people, and other people, they've experienced this, so it's not gonna be a surprise at all. Let's start with this. A lot of people know that only at max about a third of furries have fursuits. You know. But a lot of people don't realize that a lot of furries don't even like fursuits. It's gotten to the point where fursuits are sometimes bullied in the fandom itself. Fursuiters have been blamed for the downfall of the entire fandom, and many furries believe that all fursuits are fetishists, meaning that all of us believe, well, all fursuiters take this as a sexual thing. And it's really weird for a furry to have that perception, but they're out there. I've encountered them myself. And it's absolutely ridiculous and incorrect. Any fursuiter would know this, because I've been standing here for a few minutes and I'm dying. I just couldn't even believe. But it's a thing. It exists. So next time you see someone who doesn't want to interact with you and they're a furry, don't take it personally. They may just not like fursuits at all. So, you know, it's a thing. It's an upsetting thing. Let's move on. Another one that a lot of people who aren't in the fandom wouldn't know, but people in the fandom would know. Furries do not hide their faces often. And I say this because a lot of people who aren't in the fandom think that, especially fursuiters, hide their faces so that no one knows their true identity. But that's not really true. You can't stay in the suit for very long. There is a point where you have to take the head off. So most people know what each other looks like. Now, there have been studies done that show that furries are very bad at recognizing human faces. They're not as important to us as the faces of our fursonas or fursuits. And that's one thing. But it's another thing to say that we try to hide behind the fursuit and try to make sure that none of our friends ever know what we look like in real life. It's just not true, it's impossible, and it's just a silly concept. While many of us know each other's faces, we don't usually know each other's real or legal names. Part of the furry fandom is for us to present the identity we want to have, the identity that we choose for ourselves. So in many cases, you may know someone your entire life in the furry fandom and never know the name that their parents gave them. Usually, if you do find out, it's mentioned in passing or, because some sort of conversation came up for that specific conversation to elicit the giving out of the name. But other than that, it usually never happens. Now, my legal name is out there because my persona's name is way too out there. I would get completely Zuckerberg on Facebook if I used my persona's name. So I have to use my legal name. Or at least that's just my choice. I could just come up with a fake name like many do and just live that way, but I choose not to. I'm okay with people knowing my legal name. I'm okay with being addressed that way. So, but for some, they're not okay with it. And, it just goes that way. A lot of the people I know, I don't know if the name that I know is their legal name. Actually, a majority of them, I'm pretty sure it's not. And I'm okay with that, because knowing their legal name isn't necessary in this fandom. And that's what makes it kind of amazing. You can know a person, know them, like, if they have a fursuit, know them in the fursuit, out of the fursuit, and never know their legal name, and it's totally okay. It's a weird thing, but it's an amazingly weird thing. If you're not cool with not knowing someone's legal name, then that's on you, I guess. But if you're in the furry fandom, expect that to be the norm, because not many people are going to willingly give that out to anyone. So I did a video on this one beforehand, and you can see it here. But feral characters are still anthropomorphic, and this is a big area of debate in the fandom. And I'm not going to get too into it because I did in a completely different video. But if you see a feral character like Simba, or the penguins from Happy Feet, or Spirit from Spirit Stallion the Cimarron, these are all anthropomorphic characters that are feral. They walk like their animal should, naturally. But people like to say that they're not anthropomorphic. That doesn't make any sense to me. You don't have to walk on two legs to be an anthropomorphic character. And that's pretty much the end of that. So this next one, I'm sure a lot of people are going to disagree on me with. But I'm going to clarify myself before I really get into this. Furries are usually materialistic. Now, before everyone starts hating me, I don't mean materialistic as in you will sell your family for a nice car. Just like the word notorious, materialistic doesn't have to be a negative thing. It's not inherent. The word materialistic simply means that you have a desire or an inclination towards, material things. Material things can be anything from, in the furry sense, a fursuit, to plushies, to art, and pretty much anything else in that realm, any sort of paraphernalia. So, yes, the furry community is very, well, community-centric. We care a lot about each other, and it's very different from most other fandoms. And that is what sets us apart. So when you're in public, usually you care about the people next to you. But when you're at home, what are you typically doing? You're looking at videos, you're looking at art, and you're buying shit. The furry community buys a lot of shit. But nah, you can totally deny that being furry has anything to do with anything materialistic. Nothing about, getting plushies or buying art of your persona or characters or anything like that. I mean, yeah, no, totally not. You're a saint. All furries are perfectly innocent. We don't like materialistic things at all. We just love community. And stuff. I mean, how is stuff important? I mean, in the end, stuff? That'd be ridiculous. Oh, wait. No, you are. We all are. Get used to it. Alright, next on our list is sort of related to feral anthropomorphism, but not quite. Anthropomorphism is not limited to cartoons. Yeah, that's right. Furries, fans of cartoon characters. Not completely. And I'll give you some examples. Racing Stripes. Remember that one with the zebra who thought he was a racing horse? Yeah, he's anthropomorphic. Homeward Bound. That's anthropomorphic and it'll make you cry. There are too many. It's hard to list them all, actually. Any movie where there's a talking animal that's actually an animal. Cats and Dogs, the sequel to that. There's a ridiculous amount of them. All the Air Buddies films, all of them, those are all anthropomorphic. Actually, the Air Buddies films are further, along with the Cats and Dogs films, because they show those animals doing things that animals don't normally do. I would even argue that a couple of the Air Bud films themselves put Air Bud in an anthropomorphic stance because he sometimes does things that dogs can't do. And some may argue with me that Air Bud was based on a real dog that could actually do the things he did. Yes, but in the later films, they did do some special effects to make him do things that a dog can't physically do. And that is anthropomorphizing him. Would I call him an anthropomorphic character? No. Would I say he was anthropomorphized? Absolutely. And there are even some roles that animals take that they don't speak, but they're anthropomorphized because of their behavior. There are quite a few horse movies where this is the case, where they show the horse in some way doing something that is obviously not something that horses do, and they're anthropomorphized that way. Anthropomorphism is not limited to cartoons. It can be anything. So, next time you see a film with a live talking animal, or an animal that may not talk, but does things that an animal will never do, that's an anthropomorphic situation. So, there you go. Furry, the idea, and what you can be a fan of, spans so many different things, it's ridiculous. And that's part of why this fandom is so hard to define. So someone could be a fan of Homeward Bound and become a furry. And you might think that Homeward Bound's not a cartoon, but they are anthropomorphic. And also, that movie is just amazing. So, this is one that some of you may feel guilty for afterwards, and some of you may just not care. You shouldn't throw away a fursuit. And, well, unless there's absolutely no choice. And there's a reason why I say this. Fursuits are made almost entirely of plastic. And if anyone has seen any specials about plastic bottles, you know what plastic does in dumps, aka nothing. This is not biodegradable plastic. This is just regular petroleum-based plastic. The production of this stuff is not eco-friendly, and this doesn't degrade eco-friendly. So if you have a suit that you don't want anymore, instead of just tossing it in the trash, it's way better and better for the environment and better for the animals that we all love and care about to put it on sale, change how it looks a little bit, put it on sale to give it to a new owner, or repurpose as much as you can into something else. Now, if the fursuit has been completely destroyed and cannot be used in any form or fashion, that's okay, I understand. But if it's a perfectly good suit that can be used, there is absolutely no reason to get rid of it. I mean, even the foam inside, a lot of fursuit heads, that's made out of petroleum-based products too. It also doesn't break down. So, even that, if the base is good, you're gonna strip it of the fur if the fur is completely messed up, throw away the fur, and you're reducing your carbon footprint by removing the fur and reusing the base. Which is what I did with Daja and Kakura when Daja was falling apart. So, just in the light of trying to reduce your carbon footprint, just try to reuse what you've got instead of just throwing it away and getting a new thing. It's better for everybody. Okay? Alright. Now we're getting into the good stuff. So, I have two not safe for work topics. The first one is not safe for work does not necessarily equal porn. Now, what the hell do I mean by that? It means that if something is labeled not safe for work, does it mean that it is a picture of two furry characters doing the do? Possibly. It could also be gore. It could be just violence in general. It could be artistic nudity, which is not really porn. I mean, a person out there can jack off to it, but that wasn't the artist's intent or the character owner's intent. It's the knowledge that someone might do something with it. But, I mean, my suit stuff has been the subject of being almost put into porn groups, and I've had to stop that from happening. And it's just me showing off the work I do for business. So, people will find anything that they can use. So just because someone treats something as porn doesn't make it actually porn. Someone can look at a picture of a regular, let's just take a regular furry character who's just standing there fully clothed, nothing's happening, and they can use that and whatever. So when we're talking about not safe for work, we're just talking about the things that if you open it up at your work desk and your boss sees it, will you get in trouble? If there's a decapitated dog on your screen at your work desk and your boss sees it, you're more than likely gonna get in trouble. Now, not safe for work as far as art sites can also go to the most mild thing, which is just a bunch of curse words in a comic. And that's where the line is really drawn. Like, that's the bottom of the line, is just a bunch of curse words in a comic. But for the sake of the art site, they have to be labeled not safe for work or mature. So, if you see something that's not safe for work, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's sex or porn. It could be a lot of things. And considering the furry fandom and everything that we have and do, it could be a lot of things. And a lot of them I don't want to know, but it could be a lot of things. Now for our last one, which is very much related to the one before. Not everyone who draws not safe for work art is into or likes the stuff they draw. For a lot of these people, art is their job. This is how they make their money and pay their bills. Just because they'll draw fetish art or a decapitated dog doesn't mean that they like seeing decapitated dogs or into that fetish. And this is actually really, really common. There are a lot of people out there who will draw it because they're comfortable with drawing it. But it's not their personal thing. So you can't always judge the adult side of the fandom based on how many adult artists there are in the fandom. It is far better to judge the adult side of the fandom by how many consume that adult side, and you do need to take into account how many are repeat customers to these adult artists. Now, I know that there are some adult artists who are way into the things that they draw. They're out there. And it's kind of like a half and half. Some are into it, some just tolerate it so that they can make their money and live. So, I mean, there is no wrong or right answer. It's okay to like the things that you do. It's okay to dislike the things you do. There are plenty of people who have jobs that they hate. And I would say that there are many people who draw adult art that hate the idea. Usually they don't go down that route. Just like I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do an adult suit because I really don't like that side of the fandom. That's just me. But, you know, other people who make suits may be okay with making a modified suit because they're not with it, but they're not opposed to it. You see the difference? There's a big difference. So, and this is especially for people who aren't in the fandom, who think that the fandom is all about these things, about adult things. You need to look a little bit deeper than the surface. And once you get that, then you get the real statistics, you get the real information. And the real information really supports that for most of us, the sexual component exists, but it's not the reason why we're here. So, big whoop-de-doodles. So, that was my list of the 10 surprising things about the fandom. Like I said before, if you disagree, agree, whatever, throw some comments into the comment section, and let's have a conversation. Let's talk. Because I like hearing what you guys have to say, and I want to hear, like, some things that maybe you have found in the fandom that you realize that most people don't see. Or maybe you haven't seen the things that I have, and, you know, whatever. Remember, everything is subjective. I have my list because these are the things that I have seen. You might have different things because you have seen other things than me. So, with that, I'll see you guys later. Bye!